Welcome back to the lab. Tuesday morning. So yesterday we tore apart the VG30 DETT out of the 300ZX that I owned a few years ago. It's been through some different hands, fell into bad times, engine died, rebuilt by a place down south at an exorbitant price, $23,000, and had problems. Lots and lots and lots and lots of problems. A absolute can of worms. So right now, looking around in my workshop, we've got swear word from swear word to breakfast time. But let's have a look at what I found this morning. Before this piece, the motor goes off to be cleaned. I can clean it here, but I really don't want to. That and those pieces there, they're going to go off and they're going to get cleaned. So they're more better. I'm going to drill out the oil bungs from the galleries so that can all be done properly and make sure that these are actually stuff everywhere actually properly cleaned, not full of metal that's going to ruin the engine all over again. Now this is the left hand cylinder bank, and I said that the smart people have seen it already, right? Comment right now if you've seen it already. I said that the gaskets often tear to bits and it's sometimes very hard to see whether they've been leaking or not. Not so much this one. You saw the rattle gun undid all these head studs and it shouldn't have been able to, but it just did that quite happily because they were not torqued correctly. The people have potentially just used the factory torque specs for the factory studs, bolts rather, when they're using ARP L19 studs, which have a completely different torque. And they were not tight enough. Oh, it's gone out of focus, my bad. There you go. Look at that. Told you I had a leaking head gasket. I said that within, I don't know, I would have to go back, but it was within 15 minutes of the car turning up my driveway. So it's blowing through here. It's blowing through here. So $23,000 job. $23,000. And this is how good a job that they've done. It's an absolute cluster. Like, to be fair, being realistic about it, if we had pulled the cam covers off on this side and checked the torque on the head studs, it may have clamped down enough so that that gasket would then have sealed, and it may have actually resolved that problem in the motor. Of course, the motor would have completely self-destructed from a number of other things that were going on, but we could potentially have resolved just that particular little piece there. Absolute foolish thing to do, but yes, for anyone who wants to argue about it, that could have been done. We still would have had one of the bump sticks all full of metal. I haven't checked the other one yet. Should we do that? Let's do that this morning. There's probably metal in all our cam followers here, which is why they're out on the bench. There's probably metal still in the cylinder heads, and one of those mystery boxes over there, is it that one? That one is going to have the cam gears in it, the variable cam gears that go on the end of the camshaft, on the end of the heads, to make the camshafts advance and retard. Those, I guarantee, are full of metal, and that is where our funny compression came from. Not the valve stuck in the end of the camshaft, because basically at idle, while we're, well, not idle, sorry, just cranking it over with the starter motor to check the compressions, those valves aren't going to do anything, right? Because there's not enough oil pressure to do anything with the advancing or retarding of the camshafts. They should both return to, whichever way it is, return to, let's call it zero, to not advanced or retarded, just off spring pressure with no oil pressure. They should both go back 100% to that. I guarantee, big call, I know, it's probably going to trip me up, but I guarantee one of them is, at least, is jammed, and it's partially advanced or fully advanced or retarded or whatever it is, whichever way they go, I can't remember. And that is why we had that bank with higher compression than that bank while we were doing the compression test. While it was running, of course, if it's jammed up enough, it doesn't matter what happens with oil pressure, the cam is just going to stay in its position, and it's not going to advance, it's not going to retard, regardless of what the little solenoids and the valves are up to. Of course, one of the valves was jammed open. Anyway, what a bucket of crap. What an absolute sack of, just insert like 5 minutes of swear words. Big, long, like just massive. I don't need to use swear words. We can use cooler words. What an abomination. Still haven't identified those. Sorry about the shaky camera there. Those pistons. We're looking at, just carefully thrown. Looks bad, doesn't it? That's why it's on the cardboard to look after it. That needs cleaning anyway. It's 0.25 millimeters undersized. Sorry. I'll also check if this block actually needs line boring. From what I've seen of the bearings, it probably does, and that hasn't been done. They charged, it was $800 for a second-hand block, by the way. Pretty good price, eh? Not. Depends how hard it was to get that. They may have had to purchase an engine and tear it to pieces to get the block, so that would start making sense. All the haters are going to come out soon. Everyone's going to hate against me for showing all this. It's going to be all my fault. We've seen that before. Tiny little wee win here. So I was cleaning these up, send them away down to our mates at Calford's. Look, I had a tube all set, ready to go. Paper towels are kicking around somewhere. I was giving them a wipe down to put them away and send them off down there. And then I noticed there's some etching on the ends of the camshafts here that actually identify what they are. So we don't have to send those away, and make sure that they haven't accidentally swapped, or stupidly, perhaps this was the right word, swapped in the wrong camshafts. So that's good. They can be some CRC or whatever. They look to be in good shape, so we'll look after those, put them away in one of our massively overfull boxes, and start dealing with other stuff and things, possibly cam followers, or just a general tidy up, because we made a bit of a mess around here. A big mess. Some things need to go off for powder coating and all that sort of carry on, and we need to order some parts and get on with some other jobs. So that'll be it on this one for a little bit. Apart from the other jobs that need to happen up under here, some stuff and things are going to happen at the back end here to deal with things. We'll get on with that. Remember that tray we drained the engine oil into? Let that sit for a little while. So anything that's in there goes to the bottom, and we've got rid of most of it. Now, I could comment on what we're seeing in there, but it's a subject that is open to a fair bit of discussion, interpretation, etc. But it's fair to say there is a quantity of metal in there, and before anyone says that the quantity of metal is not excessive or is excessive or whatever, just remember that we did have things inside the motor that were not working because they had metal in them. Take that into account with what you're seeing here. That is actually, that piece there, I'm pretty sure that is actually metal. Wrong, silicon. That's silicon, okay. Yeah, that's silicon too. So there's no big chunks in there, although there were a couple in the sump which I have not yet cleaned. They're sitting over there. I'm going to flush that out in a minute and see what comes out of that. Amazing. Less stuff on the bench. That's great. Oh look, turbochargers. These are the turbos that were on the car. GT, like Garrett, GT 2560Rs. And you can see size of the little wheel there, a little turbine, spinny, roundy, make it go. These are the ones that came off the March. I did have them for sale a little while ago. I've damaged one. We ate a bung out of the air intake system that I forgot to take off. Bad, Glenn. Bad. So that one's no good. Was actually still making full boost even like that. So one of these, this one, all the bolts are loose because there's no compressor wheel on the other side of it. But these are GT 2860Rs. So these RSs, sorry, these are disco potatoes. Size of the wheel. And back there, take note of the size of that wheel compared to the housing. The housing is the same flange pattern. Clearly it's a different size actual housing. Take note of the size of the wheel, and take note of, it's very hard to see because it's black. It's been running so rich because it's a bad tune, because it's a bad engine build. Bad. So these wheels are little, which means the turbos, because they've got the exact same size compressor wheel, except for when someone destroys them, they spin up the compressor wheel a little bit, a little bit earlier, but there's more back pressure, so then they lose out at the top end. That's the correct way. That's basically going to cover it. That's all we need to do. We'll cover it like that. We'll get it more complicated. It's difficult. These ones will spool up basically a little bit slower, tiny little bit slower, depending on the application, a whole heap of other crap. Sometimes these can actually go better, but you're fine. And then they go way better at the top end, because you get the exhaust gas out of the engine a lot easier. You end up with lower pressure in the exhaust manifold. More betterer, more gooderer. So we've run a 300 ZX with these on it in the past and had 500 kilowatts at the wheels. So it should be more than adequate for what we're doing. I think that's at 20 psi boost. Different cams and stuff, but these will be significantly better than that bucket of crap we just took apart that made 294 kilowatts at 16 psi on these. These at 16 psi, I'm expecting over 400 kilowatts. Easy peasy. But we'll see. We'll get it all sorted out, and we'll see whether Glenn's talking caca or not. It does happen sometimes, eh? We're all human. So I've packed away most of the stuff. There's still a little bit of debris to take care of here, and we'll deal with this clutch situation. That's a competition clutch that was in the car originally. I think they're the same as Quartermaster and Tilton, but I need to look into that, and I need to give the owner the option of whether she wants to deal with a twin plate clutch in the car, which is a little bit tricky to drive, but the cool factor is right up there and it'll definitely handle the horsepower, or a single plate clutch was easier to drive, which may be pushing our luck a little bit with the horsepower. I might just hang in there, maybe. We'll see. Okay, it's pretty hot. It's after 3:30. I think that'll do for today. Thanks for watching. We'll carry on tomorrow. Very good. Cheers, bye. But wait, there's more. Far out. I picked this up and went to put it on the shelf, and then I realised that is bent. That is bent there. That is bent there. So they've ruined, well, not ruined, they've damaged this when they've tried to take it off the front of the crank. We had a neighbour here when I was taking this off, and I tried to give it a little pry just in one place and could see it wasn't going to move, and gave it a jiggle once we had a couple of techniques done, so we're definitely not responsible for that. Another thing to add to the massive list of failures. Fail. See ya, bye.